सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Can I have the little feedback monitor increase volume? Hello? Hello? Yeah. Yeah. We'll chant chapter a little echo over the chapter 16 verses 1 to 10. श्रीभगवानुवाच अभयं सत्त्वसंशुद्धिः ज्ञानयोगव्यवस्थितिः दानं दमश्च यज्ञश्च स्वाध्यायस्तप आर्जवम् अहिंसा सत्यमक्रोधः त्यागः शान्तिरपैशुनम् दया भूतेष्वलो लुप्त्वम् मार्दवं श्रीरचापलम् तेज क्षमा धृतिः शौचम् अद्रोहो नातिमानिता भवन्ति सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातस्य भारत दम्भो दर्पोऽभिमानश्च क्रोधः पारुष्यमेव च अज्ञानं चाभिजातस्य पार्थसम्पदमासुरीम् दैवी सम्पद्विमोक्षाय निबन्धायासुरीमता मा शुच सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातोऽसि पाण्डव द्वौ भूतसर्गौ लोकेऽस्मिन् दैव आसुर एव च दैवो विस्तरशः प्रोक्तः आसुरं पार्थ मे शृणु प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च जना न विदुरासुराः न शौचं नापि चाचारः न सत्यं तेषु विद्यते असत्यमप्रतिष्ठं ते जगदाहुरनीश्वरम् अपरस्परसम्भूतम् किमन्यत् कामहैतुकम् एता दृष्टिमवष्टभ्य नष्टात्मानोऽल्पबुद्धयः प्रभवन्त्युग्रकर्माणः क्षयाय जगतो हिता काममाश्रित्य दुष्पूरम् दम्भमानमदान्विताः मोहाद् गृहीत्वा सद्ग्राहान् प्रवर्तन्ते शुचिव्रताः. Katima, voice வரல feedback. Don't have enough. So the 16th chapter, title Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. Can you close the door when you come so the echo I can hear? So the chapter, it increased a little bit. The yoga of the distinction of the Daiva, which is divine, and the demoniac, which is Asura. So very down to earth. The chapter has got 24 verses. The first 6 verses gives the qualities of the divine and the demoniac. 7 to 15, he says how the demoniac, what is their nature and how do they conduct themselves. 16 to 21, how the demoniac sink to the lowest level, almost to the lowest hell. And 22 to 24, how the divine rise to reach the highest goal. So the first 6 qualities of the divine and the demoniac, 7 to 15, their demoniac nature and conduct. Very interesting. 7 to 15 particular is very interesting, because how convincing are these demoniac people? They're very convinced of their pursuit. And the arguments they give that what they are doing is the purpose of life. Like bhoga, Aishwarya and enjoyment. This is their purpose of life. And then they argue and say, what else is there other than this? So the assurance, in fact, if you are on a uncertain grounds, believe me, you will be very convinced. They are so convincing. And then 16 and 21, how they devolve, and 20 to 24, how the divine evolve. Okay, so let's quickly get into the 26 qualities. Very interesting. You will see a lot of parallel to the 35 qualities of a bhakta in the 12th chapter, the 20 qualities of a divine in the 13th chapter, and the 26 qualities of a jnani there, and the divine here in the 16th chapter. So all in all, you have got 81 qualities. Some might overlap, but the intention is to paint a picture of a spiritually evolved or evolving. So one who is reached perfection also has these qualities. One who is trying to reach perfection also will exhibit these qualities. So the thing is, it is relative and absolute. It's not that the absolute is a different and the relative is different. So it makes it easier for a practitioner to attune to the goal, because the path itself is the goal. So to the extent you have these qualities, to that extent you are spiritually evolved. A very easy, convenient way for self-evaluation, self-assessment. Otherwise, what would be the yardsticks you would use to measure your spiritual status? It's a very gray area. And many people have their own yardsticks. So these qualities can help a great deal. Okay. It might consume some time, but we will do justice to each of them, to as much justice we can. Okay, the first verse, please. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Dhanam Damascha Yajñascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana-yoga-vyavasthitihi Dhanam damascha yajñascha Swadhyayastapa arjavam. The blessed Lord said in the first verse, he is giving 9 qualities of a divine. First is abhayam, fearlessness, complete purity, sattva samshuddhi. Third, jnana yoga vyavasthitihi, steadfastness in yoga and knowledge. The fourth, dhanam, which is charity. Damaha, self-restraint. Yajnaha, sacrifice. Swadhyaya, self-study. Tapaha, austerity. Arjavam, uprightness. Each quality is a beautiful indeed. Pick up that sheet if you can, please, ma. Yeah. So, firstly, abhayam. Even in the Gita Jnana Yajna, we learn about the fear. Trayato mahato bhayat. Even very little of this, you have liberated from fear. There is no fear. There are three reasons. The first quality, fearlessness. There are three reasons one experiences a sense of fear in one's life. The first reason why one experiences fear is avidya, ignorance. If you are ignorant of something, you instantly develop an emotion fear. For example, you're entering a dark room. You're entering a dark cave, let's say. You don't know what lurks there. So ignorance of what is there instills a sense of fear in us. Second is when you create otherness. When you go to a place where you're not familiar with, people are not familiar, you're not comfortable. Like when you come here, Shalajama, now it's like a home for you. When you come here, the familiar faces, you know what to expect, you have a sense of understanding, a comfort zone. There's no fear. But the moment you go to another place, new people, you don't know what to expect, instantly you're not able to identify with them. There is a distance, there's an otherness that is created. And that creates a certain amount of fear because you're not able to identify with that person. Example, you go to a foreign country and you get into a cab. Again, there is no prejudice. I'm just saying that driver is a black Negro, 6 feet tall, and you're the only lady getting into the cab. It can be a white fellow also. It doesn't necessarily mean, again, it's not racist. Please don't get me wrong. But suddenly there's a fear. I hope this fellow is going to take me to my place. I hope nothing untoward would happen to me. There is a slight suspicion. There's no need for you to doubt, but the moment you don't identify, there is a fear. Thirdly, when you lead a destructive life means, Jama, what is philosophically destructive life? How would you classify tamasic as destructive? Because one who is destructive, he will use and abuse his power in the wrong manner. Example, a carnivore is very powerful. Carnivores literally, they instill fear in the herbivores. But actually carnivores themselves are very fearful. They're very insecure. So they're very powerful. So these people who have a destructive mindset, what is the philosophical expression of being destructive is the question. It should not be difficult at all to answer this. Constructive is a destructive. When are you constructive? When are you destructive? When you are selfish, you are destructive in nature. Constructive is when you are unselfish. You go into an environment for the betterment. You use your talent, you use your resources, you use your qualities to enhance the betterment of a person or an environment or an organization. You're constructive in nature. You're sacrificial in nature, unselfish in nature. So, selfishness and fear are very closely associated. The more selfish you are, the more insecure you will be. Less selfish you are, the more insecure. The more unselfish you are, very secure. எவ்வளோ செல்ஃபிஷ் இருக்கீங்களா, you will be very insecure. Bhayam. Don't know what is that bhayam, what insecurities, of what? What would happen? That kind of unanswerable fear. And also, there is no justification for the fear that you experience either. There is no need for you to feel fearful, but the fear lurks. Fear is very much there in your bosom. Sorry? Destructive nature is because your selfish nature, you are very insecure. See, what is okay, if you want to explain that quality, let me ask if anybody can clarify. How do you associate selfishness to experiencing a sense of fear? Yes, ma. Preeti good to have you back.
When you use the labor and energy.
No, is it on? See it down? Is it green?
When you use the labor and energy.
Like I can't hear anything in there. Yeah, please carry on.
And energies of other people for your self-aggrandizement or self-enhancement. And then those people whose labor and energies you have used, obviously they will resent it. And that resentment will have a reaction. So there is fear in you that God knows when they will rebel or, rise against me. So out of such situations, fear arises.
A fear of resentment.
Fear of retaliation because you have used the energies and labor of other people for your self-enhancement only.
So there's a fear that it will come and sting you back because you are living at the cost of others. You're abusing your power. You have misused the position and power for your own benefit. So I have abused you, and there's a fear that the truth which you perhaps it might reveal itself at some point. So there's a fear. Any day politics, not present day politics. Politics itself is like that. Insecurity. Anything. Yeah, Samyam. Throughout history, it's happening. That's what the demoniac people, as I said, the demoniac are so sure in their attitude to life, and yet they don't realize the folly of their actions. They don't realize, and yet their actions are just going down the drain. As he says, to the lowest hell they reach, and yet they don't realize. Very much possible. So selfishness and possessiveness are very close to each other. Whenever there is a possessiveness, you experience a fear of losing your possessions. But if you have no possessive attitude, there's no fear of losing. Okay, if it's not this one, something else. Why should I have a possessive attitude? So selfishness and that possessive attitude, in fact, selfishness silently expresses a possessive attitude. And that possessions that you have got is you have got it at the cost of others. So that this object which should give me joy, this very object will instill fear in me because I got this at your cost, which should rightfully belong to you. I cheated you, I misused you, I abused you for my enjoyment. So this object which should give me a source of joy becomes a source of pain and agony. So this object is cursing me rather than blessing me. So nothing to do with the object, it's the means I've adopted to procure the object. Have I been ethical or have I adopted unethical ways and means? So the moment you adopt selfish means, that possessiveness, that attachment, that itself causes great restlessness. You will have sleepless nights. That guarantee. Like a classic example is Shakespearean play Macbeth. Often we say that Macbeth got that throne by assassinating King Duncan, who was his benefactor. In fact, that's the worst crime you can ever commit, is to kill a benefactor. One who's willing you, wishing you well, you come and stab him. And the king invites him to celebrate his success, and this fellow was poisoned by his wife. And wife says, you know what is between you and the throne is the king. And that night, he takes a dagger and he assassins Duncan. And thereafter, the scene is he's trying to wash off the blood of his hands. He's not able to wash off the blood. The blood is very much there. He keeps on washing, and everywhere he keeps saying blood, blood, blood. And the famous words of Macbeth: I did not kill Duncan. I killed my own sleep. I killed my own sleep. I killed my own sleep. And even the movie, it keeps resounding. Maybe we should watch one of these classic Shakespearean plays as well. In our ashram, remember, we used to sit with the Shakespearean book, that bulky book, and keep watching the play, and it's pure Shakespearean English. And the next 3 hours, we are stuck to the book, following the act and the scene, almost missing the scene there. Because we are just trying to underline and capture so that we can go back and read those phrases, read those contexts. Deeply, it's like pure philosophy, but then it's a different language. So to associate fear to these 3 reasons, particularly selfishness and possessiveness, there's no sense of happiness or contentment in that pursuit. There's always fear associated, insecurity. And how to come over it, the moment you lead a life of karma yoga, a life of service and sacrifice, instantly the fear goes. Some that kind of assurance, the kind of comfort, the kind of happiness, the kind of ease that you experience. Okay? The 3 reasons: ignorance, otherness, and destructive selfish nature are the causes of fearlessness. The second quality, sattva samshuddhi. Give Setuji that sheet. Sattva samshuddhi means pure sattva, or complete purity. A pure state is where there are no agitations in the mind. So that lack of agitation, when does one experience agitation? The lack of agitation is being pure. Complete pure is no agitation at all. So the question is, when does one experience an agitation? Venkatramji, can I ask you, please?
Hari Om Guru.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Agitation one would experience when one is probably attached to something, chasing something, and is not able to get there. And that is largely for his own selfish reasons. So that is a point of time when, the mind is on an agitated mode.
You're again relating it to selfishness.
Agitation will also partly come because of selfishness.
It does. Can you think? You're right. But can you think from a different angle? What causes agitation? Just to think from a different angle, if you
Okay.
can. If you can.
Yeah. Hmm.
See,
Is
agitation, sir, agitation is a consequence of an action. If you
yeah.
think in those lines, that agitation is a fruit of action.
So when you are attached to the fruit, or when you develop a lot of attachment,
Now you're
then
still again, when you say attachment, again, you're still holding on to selfishness.
okay.
You need to think
Okay.
fresh. And that's why I'm giving you a lead. Agitation is a karma phala. So what has gone wrong in the action, that the action
Ah,
is insulting, action is agitating me.
okay. Action is agitating us. Okay. Hmm.
Who else will agitate you, sir?
No, no, I'm just trying to figure out.
Don't blame
So
anybody around
what?
you, please. Nobody can agitate you except yourself.
Uh, no, Guruji, I think, I don't know. I mean, I look forward for your answer.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Jayama, 1 minute, hold on.
When you revisit your past, or you want to visit the future, then you get agitated.
Okay, I'll take that. But still, it is not. When you visit the past and the future, that may cause agitation, she said. Setuji?
Hari Om Guruji. When you go against conscience,
That's it. When you go against your conscience, when your actions that you are doing are not against your conscience, when they are against your conscience, you're committing a sin. Sin is nothing but mental agitation. How do we define sin? Sin is defined as a mental agitation. So whatever I am doing, if I experience a sense of agitation, means something has gone wrong in the action. Something has gone wrong in the ingredient of the action. If the ingredient is wrong, obviously the outcome will be wrong, no? So that is the direct evidence that there's something wrong in my doing. In the ingredient of my doing, there's something wrong. So, so the agitation means an experience of a sin. Sin is mental restlessness arising because an action is not supported by your conscience. Means I have gone wrong somewhere. There is no greater indication than this, that I have gone wrong. The moment I am agitated, I have gone wrong. So I may expect something from Sridharji. Is it not my duty to rationalize my expectations? Is it not my duty to find out what am I expecting from Sridharji? Isn't it, sir? What I'm expecting may not be the right thing, but then I may complain that you're not satisfying my expectation. Who is wrong here? I am wrong because I am expecting, I am wanting things, I am desiring, my action is wrong. So that means I have not done the right thing, which is to have right expectation. So so you are deducting when you say complete purity means no agitation. No agitation means I've committed a sin. Agitation means committed a sin. Sin is because I have not followed my own conscience, which is telling me to do the right thing. So if I go back onto the drawing board, I'll find out where have I gone wrong. The agitation is arising because I have gone wrong in my actions. It is not the world. It is my own actions gone wrong. Example of expectation. You can say wrong motive. Whatever it is, my action has gone wrong. So a divine person is completely pure. Sattva samshuddhi. Shuddha is pure. Sattva samshuddhi is absolute purity of complete sattva, pure sattva. Yes, Harish?
Guruji, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Guruji, I want to just backtrack a little bit on selfishness. May I? Okay, Guruji, when you talked about fear, there are a lot of people who are passive good who have a personality or vasanas of fear since their young childhood. They are doing nothing wrong in their lives in that case, and they're not selfish, but they have a fear component in their lives since a long time, since childhood. And they are not selfish. They are pretty selfless and caring people, and I would categorize them as passive good. But when they get attacked by the aggressive bad, then they live in fear all the time. I'm just trying to draw a connect between the context over here, or is the context that I explained is not related to the context of fear here?
You are trying to 1 minute. Can she close the members participants and put the chat box? So you are trying to connect fear to a passive good person who becomes a victim at the hands of the aggressive bad, and as a result of that victimization, one experiences a sense of fear. Is it what you're asking, sir?
Yes, Guruji, thereabouts, more or less.
So
my question is, you give 3 points of the people when they live in fear. There are three criteria that they fit into. But the person who's passive good, who's a victim of aggressive bad, they possess none of these three traits in some cases.
if I may, the goodness in a person will actually protect him from fear. A passive good person will never have fear. It's aggressive bad person who will have fear actually. Because aggressive bad person who is all the time trying to be destructive. Who is aggressive bad? A person who is destructive, right?
Yes.
So aggressive bad are those who are destructive, who are selfish. They will be insecure. A passive good person, he is goodness personified. How can there be insecurity in a person who is doing good? But since he is not measuring his goodness, people out there will abuse his goodness, but he will never feel insecure. Classic example, why do we go far? Pandavas, Yudhishthira was passive good, Duryodhana was aggressive bad. Now, can you paint a picture of insecurity in Yudhishthira's life? In spite of being cheated, in spite of being sacked and got rid of from their own kingdom, was he insecure? They were very happy and contented living in the woods also, isn't it? But actually this fellow living in the palace, he was insecure. He was having fear because all through he knew he did all illegal things. He cheated them. Unethically, he is enjoying the kingdom. Same thing even in Ramayana. Bharata was not, he did not want power. When Rama was sent to the jungle, Bharata did not have greed for kingdom. So he was very happy ruling the kingdom on behalf of Rama by leaving his footwear on the throne. They are all noble people. They didn't have that greed or avarice. So goodness, when you say good people, when they are unselfish, they are constructive in nature, they will never be insecure. But they may suffer at the hands of aggressive bad. That's another story altogether. Unless you're trying to compare or relate that aspect of becoming a victim in the hands of aggressive bad to fear, I don't know whether you're relating to that, but aggressive or superior to the passive. Do you know why? You know why are the aggressive superior to the passive, Harish? What makes them superior?
Because they act on what they want to do, or whether it's good or bad. They act upon it versus the passive don't act upon
No.
things.
Passive also act. Can't say passive don't act. Passive act. Aggressive act. What makes an aggressive superior is the intellect. An aggressive person is called aggressive because he's operating on intellect. A passive man is a passive person because he's operating on his mind. A typical passive means one who is doing things that has been set into motion by his predecessors. Something has been set into motion, he just follows because he has been adopted to that particular path of action. If my family has been doing charity, I also will do charity. If my family has been going to clubs, I'll also go to club. So I don't have a life of my own. I'm influenced by environment and predecessors, what they've done. I don't take my life into my hands. I'm influenced by the external factors. They end up becoming victims. So good people will not have fear, sir, even though they are passive good. They will not experience that security.
Okay, Guruji, another question on this. Is it fair to say...
Yes, Harish, somebody in the floor here wants to comment. Yes, ma?
Yeah, what I want to say is that one sees it in school situations, if a student is good, performing well, and perhaps the teacher's pet, there are bullies who will go after that, student who's doing well, and when the teacher is not looking behind the teacher's back, say all kinds of things or even kick the child. So that child is passive good in the sense that he or she is not defending herself, against the bully. And he or she may go and tell the teacher that this is what is happening. And the teacher may say that, oh, you're just carrying tales. So it can happen in a school situation and a college situation. So that is passive good, but they are being victimized. As an adult, of course, then you choose and, you become active or you take a stand. But a child doesn't necessarily take a stand, apart from telling an adult that this is what is happening. And sometimes out of fear, they don't even share it with an adult.
So where are we getting at? What are we getting at?
I'm just defending Harish's premise.
So you got some support here, Harish. You heard what she said, what Pritima said?
Yes, I heard, Guruji. So, Guruji, she's made a very brilliant point. Now, if the school child...
I'm out of this now. It's between Pritima and Harish. I'm out of it. I surrender. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so this child who was bullied in school, who has every reason to fear by the bully because he cannot fight back. by the senior student. So he develops a fear, but doesn't fit. The child, for example, the young student, doesn't fit into this criteria of the three criteria of definition of fear. He just became afraid because he was attacked by the bullies. This is the point I was trying to actually get at, Guruji. She made a very compelling case for me in this case. The child had no fear until they were bullied. And this resulted in the fear through a chain of experiences. So, is it fair to say that, is it correct to say that it is their vasanas that results in the magnifying of the fear in them?
No.
Has that got a role to play? Because the
No,
child did nothing wrong. He just got bullied in school.
No, by getting into vasana, you don't get an answer. Let's not
Okay.
talk of answer. In fact, if you don't have an answer, use vasana. Then you are safe. But any true student will not talk of vasana. So that's not going to answer your question. So the context is if somebody is bullying and the child experiences fear, how do you justify that? I have to surrender to Suresh ji for the answer here. He's going to help us out. So surrender comes when you don't have an answer. So I'm surrendering, I don't have an answer. Can you please use the mic so everybody online can hear as well?
I think child is still a learner. So you should differentiate between children who still have to go through the process of learning various things about how to get on in life, and an adult who's received the necessary, spiritual guidance or wisdom.
Even if a child tries to steal things from her friends, you think the child is going to be happy about it, about possessing or openly enjoying or happy to possess it as well? If I have got this because I've stole this from you, would I be happy to even enjoy this publicly or be happy with it? No. It could be a child, but the fact that the child broke the law of being selfish, of being manipulative, of being aggressive, that emotion of fear will come in, whether be it a child or an adult. So it doesn't necessarily mean the principle works, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there is fear. I mean, there are many, many instances. And sometimes a child has not received the right guidance, the right education, the right, hand to tell him or her how to go about handling a difficult situation. So I think whatever criteria you have outlined, it's to do with adults who are mature, who are aware, who repeatedly received guidance when they can use their intellect, whereas the child is still in the process of learning. He or she is still being formed.
What would you say of the Mahabharata then? Matured people who were prince running a kingdom, and yet they were bullied by their own cousins openly. Draupadi was derobed in the parliament.
I know.
Rules were broken every possible way, cheated to the court, yet it happened.
I know they're not using their judgment. They're not using their intellect. They've thrown away their
That's
ethics.
what makes them passive. So it's nothing to do with a child or an adult. They are people who will operate on their mind. They may not operate with intellect. This is where we are trying to make a point. The passive operate on the mind, and they become victims of the people who are operating on intellect, whether be it a child or an adult. The moment the other person bullies you or abuses their superiority over you, you become victim.
True, but I'm saying give the child a chance, because the child is still in the process of formation. So you cannot, judge a child and say he's passive or it's weakness or there is no self-defense or no thinking or no judgment.
No, see, what you must appreciate that is, even though we're not judging here, but we're trying to do a post-mortem of an event. When a person behaves in a particular manner, this is where the vasanas naturally express. Why is somebody naturally manipulative? Why is somebody naturally street smart? No kid is taught to be street smart, but some kids are street smart. What is it? It's their vasanas. Everybody has the same teaching, same exposure, perhaps same parentage. You find one kid is different, other kind is different. Why vasanas? So it is naturally expressing. We're not giving them a benefit of doubt that he has not got exposure. It is the natural vasanas that are expressing. So the point we are making is the goodness will not express as fear, insecurity, because you're not destructive. The moment you're destructive, there's a sense of fear that comes in. This is a point I think we have established. We are trying to maintain that. But a child is bullied in a situation, that kind of a fear is because he's gone into a shell. He's not expressing himself. He's not been given a confidence. I don't know whether we can give a philosophical reason what's happening within him. I don't know whether we can give that, because it's a conditional experience that or situation that we're analyzing.
All I'm saying is that the need for compassion, the need for understanding the child's situation, the one who is passive good and who's a victim, that one has to then initiate the right kind of help so that later on in life, he or she becomes actively good and doesn't, suffer in this or continue to suffer in this fashion.
Absolutely. In fact, we are not attempting an answer to what is the solution to that. We are just trying to explain the problem. We're not giving a solution how to come out of it. Yes, Sureshi?
Insofar as victimhood is concerned, like a child is bullied, I think the genesis of the Bhagavad Gita itself gives us the answer. Arjuna went into despondency. Arjuna went into a certain kind of fear. I'm killing my own people, and therefore he needed a teacher. So in cases of victimhood, for example, child abuse and so on, we can't say the child should not have fear. The child will be writhing in fear for what all the child has gone through. So the child needs a counselor. The child needs a teacher who will tell the child, you have nothing to worry. You have all the power within yourself. You can come out of this, like Krishna did to Arjuna. Everybody needs a Krishna in their day-to-day life in case they are victims of aggressive action, which is utterly unwarranted. So that will always be there. But here we are talking of normal people who are normal citizens of a country. What are the traits they should have? What are the advantages for them, the society, as well as the country, if they have these positive attributes? That is what we are talking. So if we are going to talk about victimhood, the role of the teacher certainly comes in. Like Arjuna himself needed a teacher, which is why all this teaching is going on. That is what I would think. And, as you said, when all this is there, these are the right things, these are the divine traits. Yet why was Duryodhana like that? Yet why was Karna like that? Even today it is like that. Even as I think Charles Dickens or somebody wrote, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Any time you think of, it will always be the best of times or the worst of times. So this divine and the demonic will always be there. And therefore we will have to propagate, nurture and nourish the divine.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ji. Harish, are you okay? Shall we close the case?
Yes, Guruji. Yes.
Second case?
No, Guruji, this is fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jnana Yogavya Vasthitihi. Steadfastness in yoga, in knowledge and yoga. So that consistency, the steadfastness with which you are gaining knowledge. For what are you gaining knowledge? To attain yoga. What is yoga? Union with the self. So the purpose of this knowledge is only attain the goal of realization. It's not just to get caught up in the play of words. Sometimes, when we are having a healthy discussion, sometimes we may be saying the same thing from different standpoints, though it's all happening in a healthy atmosphere. But we should not get caught up in the concepts or the ideas or the language or the standpoint. But what is this purpose of this knowledge engaging in? So the steadfastness with which you have clarity that I am in this knowledge only to get to the goal of self-realization. Okay. The fourth, dhanam. Dhanam is charity. When would you take to the path of charity? Charity is not merely giving. When would you truly embark on a life of being charitable? It is not an act of charity or two. Oh, you may check your accounts and say in a month how much charity you have done. Oh, this event I've done charity, that event I've done charity, this person I've given that much. So you say, oh, I'll calculate and put math together and say, I've given 2% or 5% or 1% or 0.5% of my asset, my wealth, I've given charity. Is that what charity is? Charity is not the act of doing charity, but charity is the act of being charitable, to cultivate the charitable nature in everything that you do, to have that charitable disposition. So even if somebody makes a mistake, I must be charitable to that person. I must not pin that person down and punish that person because that person has done an error. I must be charitable in my thought, charitable in my feeling, charitable in my deed, in my thought, in my act. But above all, when will one develop this attitude of being charitable? Could you use the mic, sir, please?
One wishes to uplift the downtrodden, charity comes in mind.
Again, you're talking of an act of charity. You want to uplift.
Somebody is lower than you, then comes the charity.
But what has triggered that act?
Kindness in me.
So you're saying charity is kindness? When would that kindness or charitable thought come into you?
Because I feel like doing it, because I'm having some kindness towards the downtrodden, I would wish to uplift them to a better level.
Okay. Not wrong.
That's what I feel, Guruji.
No, not wrong at all.
So,
1 minute. Yes. When you identify with others' feelings, that's what he's saying, kindness, where you are able to relate to their suffering, so you go out of the way to uplift them. Selfless giving, or getting rid of your own selfish attachments to things. When you feel a sense of fullness, when you feel a full, you give, right? When you experience a sense of fullness or satisfaction, okay? When you're contented very much, you give.
no, but Guruji, you spoke of the difference between charity and having a charitable disposition. Having a charitable disposition need not always be an act where money is involved or you give a check. You know, the charitable disposition the Vedantin has, because he knows that the divine which permeates X, the divine which permeates Y, and the divine which permeates me are all the same. And therefore that oneness, the Maitri Bhavana, which we learnt in chapter 12, everyone is a friend. Sometime back, I referred to that incident in the life of that Pavahari Baba. And Swami Vivekananda goes to Uttarakhand in the Himalayas, and he meets with a saint. And then he starts talking to that saint. And then that saint says, "Oh, I'm very happy you have come. Have you heard of one Pavahari Baba here?" And then Vivekananda says, "Yes, I heard about Pavahari Baba. Somebody told me about him, and I believe once he was in his ashram, with all his frugal things, food, little food and utensils and all, and a thief came, and carried away all the utensils and the food, and Pavahari Baba just opened his eyes, and the thief started running, and this Pavahari Baba started running behind him, and he caught hold of him. The utensils fell down. He again picked up the utensils and brought back the thief to the ashram. And he said, "Why did you run away? Whatever is there in my ashram, it belongs to you also. The Narayana in you and the Narayana in me are the same. Please sit down, have food. Whatever you want, you please take." Then Vivekananda tells him, "Yes, I heard this story in Pavahari Baba's life." And then that saint says, "You know what? I am that thief and I am a reformed person sitting here." That, no, that Maitri Bhava, the oneness with everything around you. But we develop it at our level. In my office yesterday, for example, the person who works, he came to me and he said, "Sir," he has already been taking leave last week, so he was very hesitant. "Sir, I need permission for 4 hours because my minor boy, there was something urgent. He took a two-wheeler and he drove the two-wheeler, and unfortunately he hit somebody, and that fellow suffered some minor injuries. So they went to the police station. So I have to go there, settle all these things, take my minor son to the police for counseling. There is a counseling center, and so on." So now, because of all the teaching we are going through, I could empathize with that person. And I said, "Please go, settle all this and come." That is, maybe this is the way we can slowly start putting what we learn into practice in our day-to-day lives and thereby become better.
Yes, sir. We can certainly do that. But as you rightly pointed out, there's a difference between an act of charity and cultivating an attitude of being charitable in every act. So, the moment we are born, we are taking. Right from the moment we are born, we are taking. And if you look at life, we are net takers than givers. At every point of life, whether be it from the environment, from the parentage, from the society, from teachers, from schools, we have been taking. So when you understand that you are a taker, you are heavily burdened by the indebtedness. Heavily burdened by the indebtedness. And you realize that you can never pay back for all that I have received in my life. Then thereafter, you become a giver in your life. And you give by doing what your duty is. Thereafter, you don't operate on rights. You operate what is my duty. So wherever, whatever you are expected to do, you do, because that's my dharma. I have to give. Giving, again, is said, as Surajji says, is not writing a check or giving a monetary. That's the lowest form of yajna. Dravya yajna is the lowest form of yajna you can perform. In fact, he's going to talk of yajna in one of the qualities. But that truly the act of giving comes only when you realize that you are a taker and you are indebtedness you're burdened by the indebtedness, and then you start expressing your gratitude to people of those who have benefited, through whom you have benefited, and you become a giver. As Swami Ramatirtha says, a man lived all his life in the maxim, he gave, he forgave. That's all he did all his life. He gave and he forgave. So charity is not an act of charity, but charity is to be charitable in every deed, in every thing that you do is because I am a taker. That is when you develop that attitude to give in everything, in every walk of life. That takes a little assessment to do. It's not, in fact, blessed are those who have a heart to give. Not everybody is a giver, but they are blessed, they are naturally born to give. But one who relates to this quality that I am a taker and I have to give, because you can't continue to be a taker. You feel very uncomfortable taking. You try being a taker and you see, can you be comfortable in taking? Deep within you feel a sense of enormous discomfort because you're taking without giving. Even if you are being accepted, no society will accept you if you're a taker. No parent will keep feeding the child relentlessly. Man, what nonsense is this? I've given every possible thing to you. You push your son out and say, you go and fend for yourself, man. If I give you beyond this point, I'm only encouraging your tamas. It's not in your hitam, in your good. So you go out. You may not kick your son out, but at least there is that sense of you're not happy because he's just taking. So it's very uncomfortable to be a taker.
This disposition which you said, Guruji, is so extremely important. And I think two attributes are empathy and compassion. Empathy and compassion. My wife was sharing with me this morning an anecdote from the life of Abraham Lincoln. I believe he was traveling in a carriage and his entourage, and suddenly he saw to the left of the road a small pond and a lot of slush, and a calf was caught, and the calf was struggling to come out. And Lincoln asked the man to stop. He himself got down from the carriage. He was going somewhere to give a talk. He came to that area and he lifted the calf out of that slush. It took him about 3 to 4 minutes. In the process, his dress got dirty and he brought out that calf and then set it free. It started jumping and moved about. And then he came back. And then people said, why should you take the trouble of doing this? You could have told us. Then he said, had I not done this, I would not have been free of pain. I had to do it myself because I saw that calf in pain and that induced pain within myself, which is why I did it myself. I don't mind if my dress has got soiled. That's no problem.
See, there's a difference between the act of empathy, act of kindness, vis-a-vis developing a stance of a giver all through your life. They must be able to slightly differentiate that, sir. Because even when Sureshji mentioned of an act of kindness, that by itself is not the charitable or the quality of dhanam. When you're trying to paint a picture of a particular quality, you must be very true to that quality. I'm trying to be true to the quality. So when you talk of aspects or qualities which are close to it, we are not being justice to dhanam, I feel. So how do I become a giver? When you are doing charity, you are the giver. When do I become a giver? So if we strictly stick to that quality and analyze the point that we made, when you realize that you are a taker and you're burdened by that act of taking, that thought of giving naturally creeps into you. Until the thought that you're a taker. But if that thought doesn't come to you, you continue to take. And one who is a taker operates on the principle of, it is my right. The moment you say it is my right, you're a taker. So the moment you become a giver, you operate on what is my duty. There's no more rights. So if we can, there's so much, when you come to these, there's so many qualities that can come close to it. So if we can just try and separate all those close elements and just be very laser sharp on this particular quality, then you will know there are many things that are close to it but not precisely this is observation. You have to perhaps think in those lines. So, you're right. All are, sir, 26 divine qualities are all sattvic qualities. So again, there's again generalizing. All are sattvic qualities. Like fearlessness, purity, steadfastness in yoga and knowledge, and charity. All are sattvic qualities, what we studied. Okay. Now the next quality is self-restraint. What is self-restraint? Restraining. What are you restraining? Restraining damaha. Damaha is at the mental level. So restraining the mind which is rushing into the world, which dissipates your mental energies. So you practice self-control, you restrain the mind from indulging into unnecessary discussion, unnecessary thought, unnecessary, what is happening in politics? Like somebody other day said, can I send you something in politics? I said, thank you very much. And that person was very sweet. He's a sweet person also. Very sweetly asked, would you be interested? I said, sir, I am not interested. To which he said, Guruji, I know you're not have interest, therefore I didn't want to burden you. I said, thank you very much. Unnecessarily, if I engage my mind in something, it could be interesting. But I'm engaging my mind in trying to understand. You know, I spent 16 minutes on a video, sir. After that, I thought, why did I did? But it's a beautiful video that was so beautifully explained of the stance America had taken about how they control the oil industry, especially the Middle East. How it all started in the late 1970s. So from past 50, 60 years back, that lady started capturing why US is attacking Iran today, how they started, why UAE left OPEC, it started with that, and then relating the dollar to every barrel that they produced and sold, and how dollar became a norm for their whatever the operations and so on. So when I heard, let me listen to it. But later after that I said, so much of my mind I had to apply to it, energy wasted. If you want to relax, doing things all right, but it's so much of trying to understand more. This fellow did that, that fellow did this. Why? Damaha, if you practice, that much energy is not dissipated. Correct? So what is happening in Tamil Nadu politics, I don't know, nor I want to know. Sir, don't tell me I'm impractical. Just now I praised you only. That sweet gentleman who wanted to say something, I said, is him only. I praised him and he is telling me I'm impractical. So how can you be ungrateful to your guru, sir? Mic kudungo, Sureshji. I want others online also to hear.
If you are going to practice this self-restraint and focus only on few things, in today's life, when you are sitting in a discussion or a meeting, you will be completely out of the discussion. You can't participate in anything. If I don't know anything about Gulf, what's happening in Gulf, I'll be seen as a fool when I'm sitting in front of some discussion. That's what I feel. Practically, you have to get some information everywhere.
Again, it is.
I don't see it as a stress or anything. It's essential for nowadays lifestyle. Again, it depends on, some feel it's energizing. Some may think it is dissipating of energy. I think it is left to the individual's choice.
So are you following what is happening in the EPL?
No.
No. EPL. English Premier League. IPL was born from EPL. One minute, sir. Hold on to the mic.
I'm holding.
Are you following what's happening EPL?
No,
Why not?
not interested.
You still have a place in the society, yet you have no knowledge of the English Premier League, which is the biggest Premier League in the world. IPL is just a little pocket of the English Premier League. So there's a society that is carrying on with their lives. So if I were to keep sending you of all EPL, what would you do, sir? Sir, it doesn't interest me. Why are you sending it to me? No, sir, I have to have a place in the society. Yet your society is defined by what interests you. Beyond the realm that is of no interest and it's waste of your time and energy. Wouldn't you say that, sir?
Perhaps, yes.
Exactly, that was my reaction when you wanted to send in the space and domain where I am operating, it doesn't interest me. And I don't need to be, if I need to, I will acquaint myself because I have an obligation to be updated. Thereafter, it's no more dissipation. But when something doesn't help me in getting my goal, why am I allowing my mind to be drawn away? So it is always with reference to what you want to achieve in life, with reference to your goal.
Right.
Nothing per se is dissipation, but it's with reference to your goal. Like if EPL doesn't contribute in any way in your goal of your life or business or your betterment of being updated into what your knowledge quotient is, it's dissipation. It doesn't serve my purpose. But if something happening in the medical industry, a new research has come up, there's a lot of discussion, and you being in the medical field, if you need to be acquainted, it's no more dissipation. So when you have that clarity of what you want to get to, then you don't let the mind wander, because it is the very swabhava of the mind to wander. So self-restraint is not denying yourself. Self-restraint is not self-denial, but ability to keep the mind away from things which dissipate your energy. And that is subjective, sir. It's not a thumb rule. Subjective to each individual. And as you evolve, some things may have no interest to you. You say, why am I wasting my time and energy of this? Prime Minister Modi will be in town very soon, and the whole city is going to be stalled, and everything is focusing on his flying visit to the city. Now, why is he coming for? What is his agenda? What is he doing? What are the programs lined up? It doesn't interest me. Should it interest me? Should I be interested in it? How is it going to help me in my goal? So the energy, whether it's dissipation or is it the utilization for my goal, is subjective, and that your own intellect will take a call. And this is dynamic, sir. Because it's all about controlling the mind in another sense. Okay, sir. So anytime next EPL will come, I'll only think of Suresh only. That's Sridhar. Huh? EPL comes, I'll only think of you, sir. So, huh? But sadly, nothing, no EPL video comes to me, so I can't send anything to
So
you.
now we know he wanted to share about EPL to you.
No. He wanted to share about his. I think he does lovely videos, short clippings. He said so. He wanted to share his take on the Tamil Nadu politics, and then he said also that sweetly, sir. No. I know he mentioned also. He. Ah. Maybe please send me, sir. No. Okay, I didn't see it. You sent already, huh? I didn't see it. You didn't send it. You asked my permission to send. Very sweet of him. So the way he asked, he said, no, sir.
In other
Right.
words, world is a projection of the mind.
Ama.
So you decide where and how much to project.
And moment you want, that only will come to you. What you want will come to you, no? especially what thoughts what you are seeing some video for less than 2 minutes only, that will come to you. In the social media, how that they track you and everything, absolutely the same way what you think you become. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So we have to be very clear with our choices. Very clear with our choices. Your choices, your life, your vasanas, your choices, your goal. See, if a life without an intellect is meaningless, a life without intellect is having no destination while you're driving. If somebody asks you where you're driving, I don't know. You mean, what do you mean, don't know? I'm just driving. There are beautiful roads, beautiful lanes, beautiful by lanes. I'm just driving along. And I don't know what to say. If you have to have a destination or a purpose. Sixth quality is yajna, sacrifice. There's a homework for all of you. Please think over it and come back next week. What is the difference between yajna and danam? Danam is charity, yajna is sacrifice. Venkatramji, what is the question? I hope you will be there next week with the answer also.
Yeah, difference between yajna and danam. Yes, I would be there with the answer.
Okay, that's good. He was
I
afraid
don't
almost.
know whether that would be okay for you or not, but I will try to have an answer.
Oh, not okay or with me, depends on my mood next week. If I'm in a good mood, I will take it. So I'm in a bad mood, I'll not take it. But it's a very interesting observation. The observation is, what is the difference between yajna, which is sacrifice, and danam, which is charity? They're very close, but yet, interestingly, very same verse, he gives two different qualities.
Yeah.
So, to make it more interesting, there are 4 types of yajnas you can perform. The first type of yajna is dravya yajna, which is to part with material wealth. Yajna, first yajna you can perform, 4 yajnas you can perform. The first yajna is dravya yajna. Dravya yajna is to part with material wealth. Now, what is the difference between dravya yajna vis-a-vis doing material charity? I am giving wealth in danam, I am sacrificing wealth in dravya yajna. Both are parting with wealth, but yet they are two different qualities. To give clarity to the question, could you repeat, Venkatramji?
Yeah. So I think the question was anyway difference between yajna and danam. There are 4 types of yajna. The dravya yajna is basically material wealth which you are giving it, and same is the case with charity where you are again parting with material wealth. But what is then the difference between both of them?
You are doing sacrifice of wealth. Dravya yajna is sacrifice of wealth.
Yeah.
Danam is giving away wealth. What is the difference? Please ponder over it. Thank you, sir. We will come back the next satsang.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.